Crafters, in this video tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to create your very own DIY photo frames, as well as a super cute little desktop easel to go along with it. I'm Charee Filimoehala here at the Graphic 45 office, and I am excited for you to learn how to take some of our chipboard sheets to create your own frames. Of course, this one is great for a desktop size, but this tutorial you could change up the dimensions and make the frame whatever size you needed to as well. You're also going to learn how to use up some of those scrap papers left over, maybe from a mini album or other paper projects, as well as layering some chipboard and some other fun dimensions. This is all a part of our Club G45 Volume 3 series, which has been created by the wonderful Annette Green. Along with this photo frame, we also did a super cute little board book, so be sure to do both tutorials. And if you are not yet a Club G45 member, you are going to want to rush over to g45papers.com to go ahead and sign up for our club. And these are going to be great little gifts for Father's Day. They'd be great on a desk, mantle, or in a boy's room. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me just give you a close-up look at what we are going to be making in this photo frame tutorial video. So we're just taking some chipboard sheets. This is a 12 by 12 black Graphic 45 chipboard sheet, a medium weight, and then we're making our own DIY desktop frames that you can see fit beautifully in this easel. It's perfect for a mantle or a bedroom. And then we're going to create this simple and handsome easel frame. The first thing you're going to want to do is grab your printable project sheet. You can find a link for this in the description below. Or if you're a Club G45 member, you've already got that in your kit. So the first thing we want to do is take our 12 by 12 chipboard sheet and we want to cut it down to two pieces. We want to cut it into one that will be 5 inches by 12 inches, and the other will be 7 by 12. We'll put that 5 by 7 inch or 5 by 12 inch piece to the side, and then grabbing our 7 by 12 inch piece left, we will cut it down into the following pieces. So this is going to create our frame, and we are cutting this down to, we'll have one 5 by 7 inch piece, and then we are going to have four pieces that are 4 inches by a half. So that's what these little guys are. And then we will have 4 that are a 1/2 inch by 7 inches. And that we got all out of that one piece for the frame. And if you are new to chipboard and cutting, I would advise if you have a heavy duty paper trimmer, go ahead and use that. Or you can always use a metal ruler and a craft knife. Also, in the video where we teach you how to create this stunning board book, I do show you a little bit how to use the Fiskars trimmer for trimming the chipboard. And now, using that red line double-sided tape that you got in your kit, we are going to start to build up our frame with the pieces that we have cut. So we'll just add our adhesive. So I've added my adhesive to my 4 long strips and then 2 of my short strips for now. And just using a paper piercer, I am going to pull up the red plastic from our tape. Like so. And then we'll start to build our frame. So this is a 5 by 7 inch piece, so my 7 inch long pieces are going to be flush with the top, bottom, and This one will be the left-hand side. And once I have that where I want it, I can go ahead and apply pressure to make sure I'm getting a good seal. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do 2 on both long sides and then 2 on the bottom. All right, so I've added my double layers of chipboard on my 3 sides, and now I'm going to start working on the top. And remember, this is a photo frame, and I want to be able to slide my photo right into my frame that we're creating. So I am going to be placing my piece down without adhering it. So I'm have my 2 4-inch by 1/2-inch pieces, and I have just placed them where I want it ideally to go, but my bottom layer is merely just a placeholder. So my top layer, I am going to take my tape and I am going to add a layer of tape that goes all the way from one side. And I want this, if you are using adhesive at home, something different than me, you're going to want to make sure that it is a double-sided tape that has a removable backing. And then we'll do the same. I'm just going to do 3 strips of this just to make sure I've got a really good bond. And then also with double-sided tapes, you do want to make sure that you get a really good burnish down, making sure that the tape is going to stay where you want it to stay, and the back will come off a little bit easier when you apply it this way. Okay, so looking good. So after we've added our tape up there, we want to do the same on all 3 edges. Now that we're all taped up, I'm going to take my bone folder and just slide out our piece. That was our placeholder, like so. So now we have an opening. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but there you go. Now we have an opening where we can slide in a 4x6 photo with ease, which is really great because we'll be able to update our photos as we go along. For step 5, we are going to take a piece of haberdasher that's been cut down to 5 inches by 7 inches. And this is going to be what goes onto our frame. So we need to cut out that window. So you can do a simple, easy 4x6 template, since that's the size of our opening, and trace this. And then using a craft knife and mat, you can go ahead and cut out that frame. So you want to do that, you just find your center, and then I'll do this on the reverse side though, since that we want our red diamond side facing up. And then you could trace and then taking a metal ruler and a craft knife, just line up your marks and make sure your craft knife is nice and sharp. We're going to pull this down, and you just want to do that on all 4 edges. But alternatively, if you want to try another tip, I think that this, for me, I personally like using the scoreboard a little bit more. So just another way for you to try is taking that same 5x7 paper. Let's assume I have yet to cut into it. We can just make some light score marks. So you can use your bone folder, or if you're like me, you might prefer using I just lost the name of it, a stylus. So then we can just do a light score line at 4.5, 6.5, 4.5 again, just rotating, and then again at 6.5 rotating. And then now that I have my score lines, I can go ahead and just cut out that excess. So, and even after you get in there with one cut, you could, if you don't have an X-Acto knife, or if you're not a big fan, you can always just use your fine tip scissors and cut along your lines until we cut out our window. So there's lots of different options. Of course, you could always miter as well. So if you wanted to go that route, you would just create 2 strips that would be a 1/2 inch by 7 inches, and 2 strips that would be a 1/2 inch by 5 inches, and then just adhere, and then you just want to snip those corners that meet together in a 45-degree angle, and that way you would have a nice mitered frame. So whatever you prefer, the options are out there, and we love to see, maybe you want to use this hat and cane side instead of the red. So really go wild and just do whatever suits you. So step 6, we are going to take that placeholder and slide it back into place. You don't have to do this step, but it will just keep things a little more secure while we're adhering on our front of our frame. And then we'll pull up all these adhesive strips and attach our frame. All right, so I've taken my adhesive off, so I'm just going to match my corners. So match my top 2 corners, making sure those are flush, and then just slowly start working around. Now that everything's looking like where I want it, I'm going to take my bone folder and just burnish it all down. Now again, I can take out my placeholder piece. My frame is looking good. Now let's pop out our elements that we are going to be using to decorate our frame. We want those 2 cute little tags. One has a car grill on it and one has the red car, and then we want these 3 buttons, as well as we will be using this dashing piece on our easel element. With the 2 tags we have here, we're just going to thread through some black ribbon. This is 10 inches and it's about a 1/4 inch ribbon, so just any coordinating ribbons will be great. Some twine would work here as well, however you want to do it. Now using using some liquid adhesive, I'm going to put it all together. So let's start off in that bottom corner. And this is just gonna go a tiny bit off the edge, and you wanna make sure that we don't get any glue inside the frame. So I'm gonna just add a bit of adhesive onto the frame itself. And this is just gonna slide right up. Looking good. And once I've got that placed where I want it, I can add my pre-tied bow with just a drop of glue. There, and that will dry nicely. And then I'm going to add my next little tag up to the top left hand side. Until you find the place that you like. I've got mine just revealing a bit on both the side and the top. And then I'm going to add my second bow onto here. And now I'm going to just do my chipboard buttons. So a fun little technique with the chipboard buttons. So we want to add some extra dimension to our frame. So just taking I've cut up some little scrap bits from our 12 by 12 chipboard sheets that we have left over. And I'm going to just glue on a bit of those down to my base of my black button for this top one, and then I'm going to have a few layers glued on top of each other. Got a little too much glue, as you can see there, but it'll all work out. So I have 3 layers of chipboard there, one onto my button, and now just add a tiny bit of glue, and then we can glue this on here. So it added extra strength, and then plus we have now some more dimension, which you know we love. And for the second one, I'm just gonna do a bit down there, and then adhere this on like so. So now our frame has been completed. It just needs to dry, and you can see there's ready for a 4x6 photo of someone special, maybe a brother or coworker in your life, like my frame here. But now let's make that easel. All right, so we've got our 12 by 5 inch piece. I've turned it horizontally, and we are gonna do a bit of scoring. We want to cut through a little bit of the layers, a few of the layers of the card or the chipboard, but we don't want to go all the way through. But the first thing I'm going to do is just with my bone folder score at 7 inches. And then again at 9.5. And then with my ruler, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting a few layers, and then at 9.5 do the same. And then we want to kind of test to see how that's going to be folding. If it needs a little extra help, go ahead and do it again, but this is looking nice and folded how we want. So our easel is nicely coming together. So next you want to mark from the bottom going up. So our score lines are at the top. We want to mark at 4 inches, and then we are going to draw a line, which you see I have done here with just a nice white gel pen. But you could do it with a pencil or whatever you have handy. And then where our pieces have been scored, this is where our easel is all starting to come together. So I'm going to add some washi tape to my piece, just to the edge here, all the way along. And I'm just using the Graphic 45 architecture washi tape in black. This will be available soon. It should be shipping and available to stores mid-March 2019, and along with all of our other staples, Kaleidoscope and Bloom. But you could use whatever tape you have at home, Scotch tape. We just want this to be adhered onto our line that we have created. So just match that up. And once you are where you need to be, we'll go ahead and tape it down. There we go. Tape it down. Step 4, cut a piece of haberdash to 5 inches by 9 3/4, and then we are going to turn that sideways and score at 4.5 inches, 7 inches, and 7 1/8 inch. This is going to adhere to our base and give us a nice decorative easel. All right, so I've added my adhesive to the back, and I've also added a bit of a glue stick as well as the red line tape. So I want to just match up my long base where I have scored my 4.5 inch piece. And I want this to be nicely aligned where we have created our little easel base. And then just pushing out any air pockets, I am using my bone folder. And then we'll start to work up the easel as well. And then get that nice spine, and then work this back around to the back. So no matter what angle you're looking at this on a desktop, it's gonna look great. Voila. Step 5, we are going to cut a 4 by 4 inch piece from a proper gentleman and adhere this to our base. We have nicely captured that title, but if you want to try, you can, really do anything you want from here. A fun tip is to create a 4 by 4 inch preview window. So just by creating a template, the inside window here is 4 by 4 inches, and you could go along and see whatever you want to capture. So whatever speaks to you, you can go ahead and cut that out. So then you would just trace this and cut that out. But if you're doing it just like I have, it's really simple. You just want to trim off this ruler border on the bottom, trim off this strip, and then once you cut up 4 inches and then along 4 inches, you'll have this perfect little square. All right, so now we're going to do some of the fun stuff, the embellishing. So just popping out that dashing chipboard from your chipboard piece. And then I've got that matching ribbon that's on our frame. At about 4 inches of that, I'm just gonna fold mine just nicely in half, and then from the front, I'm going to push my loop through there until I can see it. And then with my two ends, my two tails, I'm gonna tuck those through and then just pull like so. And then we have a nice cute little ribbon pulley. And then we're also going to take one of these antique keys, clock keys, and these are going to be our elements on our easel that's going to hold our frame into place. So I'm going to grab more of this scrap chipboard I've got left over, and I'm going to just pop it up a little bit more, that way ensuring that everything stays where I want it to. So just using some liquid adhesive, this will adhere down onto our chipboard tag. And then with our key, we're going to want to do a few layers so it stays level with our chipboard. So I'm thinking 2 should do the trick, or is that too much? Let's see. Looks like we're gonna have 2 layers of that so our unlocking mechanism can overlap onto our chipboard just a bit. So we'll cut these down to size and glue onto the back. So then we're going to take our 4x4 inch of a proper gentleman and just make sure this is nice and centered and flush with our easel base. Then we can go ahead and use our bone folder and adhere it down. Then just adding a bit of adhesive to those embellishments we've created. We want to leave about 1/4 of an inch of room, making sure we have room for our frame to be popped up. And voila, our easel is complete. Super simple. You could create this with any graphic 45 collection with your chipboard. So it's a great way to use up those scraps. You have extra chipboard pieces left over or papers. It is a great way to do that. And look how easy and fun. We hope you enjoyed doing this tutorial along with us. Be sure to share your projects using the Club G45 hashtag. Be sure to subscribe if you're looking for more video tutorials like this. And thanks so much for joining us. Happy paper crafting.